Melanie.
I
There's
love
no
that
doubt
bit.
about it. That I don't care. Look,
No,
I don't
I
have
love
to
it.
care.
I do care. I like it. I like that bit.
Hey, this is us, caring and not caring, and all
Definitely
levels
caring.
in between.
See, look, the little loop there? That's fabulous.
We were just talking about rock star hairdos, how people work very hard to get these kind of hairdos. And it reflects an attitude of not caring. And Melanie said, oh, I care. It's for Anne, especially for Anne. So, Anne,
yeah, but
if you're awake watching us, that hairdo is especially for you. Melanie's been rolling around all night getting it ready. And there it is.
If there were bits out of place, I would definitely move them. But it's perfect. I mean, it's a little bit flat there, but let's see if we can fix that.
All right, if we're going to do this into a hairdressing show, I actually need a haircut, and I know I've had a haircut on the show before, but, you know, where is Naomi Jansen when you need her? Oh,
see,
she's
now
not far
it's a bit
away,
out there.
actually.
But I really like that bit. It looks like a feather up the top.
Mine looks like a wig today. It just looks like I've popped it on top of my head. It does look very neat. It's like, it's like one of those, you know, the wig that's kind of, you know, it's got a style, but it's been in the box for far too long. And then you pop it out and you put it on, and it's like, something not quite. It's like you could just lift it off.
Like the 60s.
Like a Lego doll. Like a Lego doll. This morning I am a Lego doll.
Oh, there was a lady with a 60s hairdo in my dream last night.
Now, just because I'm feeling a bit inadequate with my Lego hairstyle, you have to go back after and look at the beginning of the ad for our show today and have a look at me in the yellow car because I look fabulous. Anyway, just thought I'd share that. All right, today, negotiating the battle, dropping the competition if the universe is not a game of rewards and punishments. What the heck is it? What the heck is the universe? Subatomic particles arising and passing away, arising and passing away. So
Sounds fabulous. That sounds like a mantra you could tell yourself.
Well, it is a mantra that Goenkaji tells you in Vipassana meditation. All the little kalabas arising and passing away, arising. This is what the Buddha discovered, that the body in all its entirety and all the universe, subatomic particles arising and passing away, arising and passing away. No substance, no form.
Yeah, fabulous. I like that. It's good with the accent too.
Oh yes, madam.
Yes, it feels calming. For
Sorry to all those Indian people out there. Hey, no, was that you talking about Hindi?
Yes.
Ah, fabulous. I found someone who speaks Hindi.
Oh, excellent.
So excited. So yes, even though it may sound like I am just taking the mickey out of someone's Indian accent there.
No, I was doing some research, but I love it. Like, I think...
I know, I'm a parrot, so it's okay.
Adds something to the... It's like, if you want to be calming, you make your voice the timbre and, what's that? Consistency of...
Timber! Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah.
We were talking about the difference between wood and timber, that's all. You know, when does wood become timber, and why do woodworkers call wood when it's really timber? Because it's already been timbered. Anyway, carry on. That's another conversation for another day.
That sounds like a etymology. That sounds like a question of
words.
Yeah, no, there's a word for that. Question of words. Anyway,
we'll think about the word question later. For now, we'll think about timbre of voices. Also, are we thinking about timber? Please be staying with this topic, one topic at a time. It is morning. You are messing with my mind.
But sometimes that adds to the experience. Like if you're, I mean, unless you're being funny, like it. But even that, like, I mean, you're making it funny.
Unless you're being funny.
But there's a sense that even thinking in, I wonder if we do think in accents or other people's voices when we're doing that stuff. I guess you do.
Doing what stuff?
Well, anything, any self-talk.
Yeah.
So if there's a sense of, you stupid so-and-so, you got it wrong again. Whoever.
Well, you just did someone else's accent then. Whose accent was that?
Oh, I don't know. Whoever does that stuff.
Some primary school teacher from way back.
No. But that's what I mean. Like, where do those internal voices come from? There must be some voice that we've heard before. Even if they haven't said it to us, they might have been a voice that we've heard someone speaking to someone else,
Mm.
or in a movie, or in a meditation, or.
So then when you think about the competition theme that we are vaguely on today,
back on theme.
We're not actually on it at all. We're just pretending to be on theme. But, you know, you think about those, we want you, you know, like some of those slogans or, you know, very powerful, I have a dream, you know, some of those things. And you hear it when I say it. You don't hear me say it. You hear the voice of the person who was purported to say it first, you know, who used it in their campaign or their campaign, whatever it is. But it is definitely a voice that you hear. Well, I hear voices anyway.
And there's quite a few.
Very interesting.
There's quite a few of those statements that didn't actually come from the people that they say they came from. Just by the way. Just in case you're interested in that stuff. So hang on. How did we get here?
Here we got up out of bed and walked past the kitchen via the toaster. You notice we're very organised today because we've already eaten our toast. And I know that's disappointing for you people with a toast fetish who like to watch people eating toast, but here we are.
We'll bring the fruit out.
Just with our water and our coffee. Well, even I've finished my coffee. So if you want to bring me another one. Oh, what were we actually talking about? Okay, we were actually talking about the theme of today's show.
Mantra. No, you were talking about mantras.
Mantra.
What is the universe? Say it again.
Monkey Magic. Oh, sorry, that's another TV show. See, even TV shows, just to jump around again. Monkey Magic. Like, there was a whole lot of things in that I'm sure. Like, I said at Monkey Magic the other day at school, and some of the kids went, oh, Monkey Magic. There's an old-fashioned show about that. Monkey Magic. Old-fashioned show. You would know that.
Yeah.
It's kids. Anyway, back to the topic and the subatomic particles are rising.
I like it.
Subatomic particles, kalapas. And this is what the Buddha discovered without the aid of a machine, but now the machines are discovering it also.
Yeah, but it's written in Sanskrit. Oh, so that was the other thing I was going to say.
Yeah, we're talking about lingo.
So I was doing something, and then I got a message about Hindi, and it said, go find out about Hindi, the language Hindi. There is something secret for you to learn in that. And then I looked up something the other day, and it said Hindi is from Sanskrit.
And this is just totally irrelevant, but, you know, all those people, all those amazing people, like whether they're Aboriginal or Indian or whatever, you know, they would know 7 different dialects or, you know, straight out 7 languages. Maybe, you know, in amongst that there'd be a couple of dialects, but people on the planet had so many ways of communicating, like that even in the lingo, let alone that their olfactory senses and their oral senses were so much more heightened than ours are right at this minute.
They had to be. Because
layers and layers of communication styles.
We've got so much noise going on, your brain has to cut off some of it. Otherwise, it gets a bit overwhelmed. We
were on a boat the other day. I'm on a boat, yeah. I'm going fast, yeah. I was like that. So we were on a boat, like just a ferry. And but the noise of the engine out, like when you go out the back, was just intense. It was amazing. But somehow you just filtered that out. You felt like you could hear the waves and the birds and I don't know, and the conversation you were having with someone, even though you probably couldn't.
No, your brain does. Your brain will filter it out. It doesn't matter how huge it is. As long as it's a consistent sound, your brain will filter it out.
It'll take that frequency off.
It's fabulous. Vibration. Sound is vibration.
Sorry.
Magic amounts happening
there. Well, negotiating the battle, dropping the competition. So for us here in Australia, I don't know about you kids, cats over there in America, but it was Father's Day this weekend. So I imagine a lot of people,
which I completely forgot, had
the pleasure or the treasure of spending time with families. And I know for a lot of people that is when the battle and the competition and all the old stories and patterns do seem to take their place, line up and take their turn at battling And I just read our next line, which
Did
is,
you?
if
Did
the
you ring your
universe
dad?
is not a game of rewards and punishments, what the heck is it? My dad was just coming back from Vietnam or somewhere like that, so I did ring and leave a message at the house saying, welcome back. I'm not sure when you get back, but I'm sure you get back soon.
Yeah.
And I did briefly speak to them yesterday when they got home.
Ooh.
But it was very just brief and it was a bit sad. Well, it wasn't sad, but, you know, it was just a bit... It was hard to be excited because they had a fabulous holiday because their friend had to come back because he's dying of cancer. And he was all smashed up and he had a whole, like, didn't look very well. They didn't have to come back early, but their friends did. So it was all a bit, you know, a bit sad for them because they don't feel like they can really be excited because that's happening at one side. Their very dear friend is on the way out sort of thing. And they're off having a holiday, really. Which, you know, that's the challenge of life, isn't it?
You know, but I wonder, like, if you were bashed up and had to come back early and your friends were still overseas, would you want them to suffer with you? Is that what you would want? I'm not just asking you, I'm just saying in general. Is that what you would want? And
it's interesting because it is that sense of what do you want from your life too, because they're people, I get a little upset now, but, you know, they're people who've been with my mum and dad all their life and all the significant highs, lows, everything that my mum and dad have lived through. They're people who've actually lived through it with them. Yeah. Like in a proper sense of, you know, they don't live together in a community, but they really live with them in their hearts. They really live with them.
They witness.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I guess that's the bit that's really hard, is letting go. I don't know, you know, letting that person go on the next part of their journey by themselves somewhere, you know, because you can't, you know, you don't know what happens for that person next. You don't know what their experience is beyond being here. Well, you know, maybe some people do, but for my mum and dad, I think they choose to not know, whatever that looks like. And I think that's the hard bit, is going, well, they're going on the journey on their own now, and there's not anything we can do to empathise with them on that, be with them. You know, they don't feel like they can be with them on that. Well, you know, and so many people have differing opinions.
Are you talking about when they die?
Yeah. And so many people have differing opinions on what that looks like, or they're confused for themselves on what that means. They don't have a set understanding of what happens.
Yeah, but that's not here yet.
Yeah.
Like, if the question is, if you had to come home because you're dying and your friends were still on holiday, would you want your friends to suffer and come home and be in grief, or would you want them to stay and have their holiday?
But the thing is, what do you want? You know, also you've lived this long and rich life with your friends, and now they're going through another extraordinary experience, and it's like, to be with them through that, I don't know, you know, like just that. And it does feel like there's a thing about pulling away, you know, or not pulling away, but there is a sense that when people don't know what it means, they don't really know what to do with it.
But you still haven't answered the question. Like, and I think it's not just for you. I just go,
but that's
for
the
people
thing.
in general.
I don't know. It depends, because if that person is scared or feeling at a loss, or, I mean, if that person is incapable of thought at the moment, they're, you know, dementia in a home, or they're, you know, whatever, you know, who knows what state of thought they're in. All you can do is carry on as usual. You know, even you being there, it doesn't feel like it has an impact. You know, that person's not going, yeah, come sit with me and talk to me and reminisce on the old days or whatever, and you're not feeling confident to sit with them in that state, and you don't feel like you can communicate with them. You know, there are some people who totally feel comfortable with that, with being with someone who's in a different state.
But I'm talking about the person who's in a different state. What would they want? If you are the person who had to come home early and your friends were having a holiday, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
Would you
but
want your
I mean,
friends to come home, or would you want your friends to
but
stay
even
and
if
have
they
their
say
holiday?
we want you to stay and have a holiday and have a
I'm
fabulous
not saying what
time,
they say. I'm saying what they want.
but even if that is what they want,
Yeah.
there's a part of you that feels a loss at not having them there. Like it feels like, how can you be happy when they're dying? You know, like it just does feel like.
But you're still going back to the other people on the holiday. Stay with the person who's coming home. You
But it's
know?
not about, I mean, yes, it's about them. It's
Yeah.
their journey. But it's the effect it has on other people as well. Like they're going to bounce off that in whatever way they want.
Who is they? You keep jumping between them. Who are they? They the person who came home, or they the person that stayed on holiday?
Like in this case, I'm talking about like my mum and dad in the story.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what their story is, but I'm just saying this as an example because I feel like there's heaps of people out there who have people in their lives, whether it's mental illness or just plain illness or passing away or whatever, who they are in effect, like they feel like they're in effect of what's going on.
They, the non-sick, have an effect on the sick, or they, the sick, have an effect? Well, who is they?
Everyone, no one's outside of everything having an effect on them. Like I'm just saying that they want to have that experience with the person. They want to be with them on the experience. Like somehow they want to do whatever they can to show their love and care and support. And it doesn't actually feel like, you know, there's a point where it feels like, God, how can I be here being happy, having fun when everyone else is in misery? You can extrapolate that out to the whole world if you want, right at this moment.
So sharing the misery helps people in misery.
But it's not, I don't think it's sharing the misery. It's having an experience with someone. That's what your friend's going through. They're having an experience of passing, of being sick, of being really, really sick and not being able to function in the world the way they've functioned over time.
But is that what they want? That's all I'm asking. Is that what they want? Do they want you to be there? Or do they want you to finish your holiday and then come back and be with them after you've had a great time? Like, do they want that on their head, that you had to stop your holiday and come back? I'm just going, like, somewhere I think it's part of the equation. You know, because if you can have a whole lifetime with someone and share their experiences, but in that moment, or you can think about what the exchange is or what you should be doing instead of what that person would actually want. You know, it's...
Well, now we're back to that again, the exchange. And that's what everyone, you know, the majority of the world is operating in exchange. So, Mel, how do you get out of exchange?
Well, no, because that's a really interesting scenario, because it is where someone knows that because they're both on holiday, one of them has to come home, they already know they're sick, it wasn't a thing that came up all of a sudden, and you're not leaving them in a situation that they're not aware of what's happening. They have other people to actually look after them. That person may want you to come back with them. You may be their best friend, and in that situation, they would want you to come back. You know, if you're the only person that they have.
That's your only duty.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're the only person that they have, and they want you there in the room when they're being probed or things going on that they don't understand, they're going to want at least one person there. But if there are others that are off having the holiday, do they want you to stop having your holiday and come back to be with them? Because the whole time they're going to be looking at you and thinking, I took you away from your holiday. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a sense that there's more to it than where do my loyalties lie? What do I owe? how can I have fun if this person is, I'm not sure. Like, I just think there's a lot more going on than those very clear lines. And I think that's where we get lost, in that sense of, I know exactly what's being exchanged, because I don't think that you do. I don't think that any of us does. I think there's a lot more happening, and there are a lot more circles of energy and cycles going on than we can possibly understand. And so trying to keep all of those equalizer buttons in the right place as we manage our relationships, and we manage the energy in our body, and we manage the money in our bank account, and we manage all of that stuff that's going on, the business plans and the what's good for our children and blah, 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 blah. I just don't think you can. I don't think that you can consciously manage all of those things, because there are so many elements that are beyond your consciousness. There are so many elements that you're not able to tune into. The same way that we said that when you're on the boat, there's all of that noise that eventually tunes out. The universe is the same. When you're standing in it, there's a whole heap of stuff that's tuned out, because you can't be aware of all of it at once. And the only way that you can is if you're not consciously making decisions about it. If it becomes part of, I know that it's there, and I'm going to surrender to the way that it moves me, there's a sense that then you're still not conscious of it. You still can't explain it. You can't say why you need to stop at a certain point that makes you look crazy to the rest of the world, and tilt your head that way and breathe for 3 breaths. You don't know why, but you know that that's what you're being compelled to do. There's a sense that you're tuned to something and you're listening and you're doing what you're told. I think the concept of exchange and the idea of conscious control of all of the elements of what is fair and not, and what you owe and what is owed to you, is a sense of safety. There's a sense that you know what the rules are. And it makes it, on one layer, easier, because you can say, this person is wrong and this person is right, and I did this with the right intentions, and I only have this much information, and blah, 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 blah. Like, it's a whole story of explanation of what should or should not be. But that doesn't make your life any simpler or clearer or give you any more satisfaction. It doesn't control other people. I'm not sure. It just feels like there's a point of certainty that someone wants in order to navigate the rest of their lives. And for a lot of people, it is a sense of the rules of exchange.
Mm. Which brings us back to the theme.
Negotiating
Negotiating the battle and dropping the competition. If the game is a universe, if the universe is not a game of rewards and punishment, well, I guess it is to go, what is that? Like when we're talking about the laws of exchange, the game of exchange that is playing out, and then we're talking about the battle within that. Because it feels like that is part of the battle mentality. That is part of it's a competition mentality. Somewhere those two things are inextricably linked.
Because you need resources and forts and moats and allies. You need trading alliances. You need battle plans and
if you think about that in relation to your families, I would say, especially like, as I say, if you've had an experience of family recently, you would go, oh yeah, what game was I playing in there? And so what the heck is the game if you don't play that game?
And even the non-battle,
the non-battle battle.
It's still a battle. Yeah, it's still. I'm engaging in a battle, and I refuse to be armed.
Yes.
That's still saying I'm engaged in a battle, no matter what method that you use. I don't know, and I think even every time we have these conversations, I still go, and obviously you're doing that because it serves you, and there's nothing wrong with it, and it's not to turn around and say, oh, crap, here I am in the battle again. It's okay, so that's where I am, so how does that serve me?
So what is that game, the new game of how does that serve me?
Well, I think that's what...
Like, that sense of, everything is arising in a passing way.
I love that.
It's all matter and energy moving.
Yeah.
And even if there's a competition playing out, if there's a battle in full swing, you're sitting at the kitchen table and everyone's playing their little game that they always play in the exchange states and in the battle states. And you're sitting there in fascination and going, how does this serve me? I mean, because I think even even when we find a modality that we think is superior, whether it's the how does this serve me modality or whatever modality we choose to latch onto to try and improve that situation within our family or that pattern within ourselves, sometimes that becomes the thing that you sit back with and be very smug and go, I'm not going to engage in this game, I'm playing a new game. And there's an energy that is still in the competition, it's still in the battle somewhere, because it's like, oh,
yeah, because
I've moved out of the games of this family and I am playing a different game. But somewhere you're still in there.
But you can't be. If your question is how does this serve me and you're trying to fix other people, you haven't moved out of the game. How does this serve me is about you. It's my reaction to what's happening. How does my reaction to what is happening serve me? How does my perspective of what's going on serve me? It's got nothing. You don't have any objective concept of what someone else is going through. That is beyond your ability. You cannot know why or what other people are doing. That's the point. You can only know what your reaction is. You can only know what's happening for you. Any other theory that you come up with is outside of the how does this serve me.
So in all our seeking and all our searching and all our reading about theories and psychologies and how families work and how our childhoods were formed and how our core beliefs were formed and all the rest of the palaver.
Yeah.
It's only got something to do with something if we relate it to ourselves.
If you're outside the game.
Sorry?
If you're outside the game. Inside the game, all of those things mean something. They're all part of the story. They're all significant players. They all explain the exchange. They're all part of the rule system. But when it no longer becomes a game, when the universe is not about controlling the elements or getting to a particular point or evolving or being anywhere but where you are, then that stuff is significant in this moment as an element of mindfulness. I'm not sure, there's not like a... I think that's the point, there are no rules. In this moment, the truth is something that you surrender to, it's something that you're tuned to, and it's not something that you can understand, it's something that you are. It doesn't just move through you. Energy is not something that just travels through you. You are it. You are an experience of it. Your consciousness is also an experience of it. You can't separate the two things. If all of a sudden you're in a room and you have the desire to scream and you scream, you're not necessarily going to understand why you did that. But if you did it because you were tuned to being energy, and if you were in that same room and you had the desire to scream and you didn't scream, it's going to manifest in another way. If you're tuned to it and you know it's there and you choose, because you still have a choice, and you choose not to, then it will come out in another way. Like, it will manifest in another way. I'm not sure, it's not like the psychology stuff will be relevant in one moment when you're tuned to it and it tells you it's important. mean, I guess to understand.
I just get that sense of people going, yeah, well, that's all well and good, but what the hell? My family's psychotic. I don't want them behaving like that anymore. You know, like I've been trying to affect change in there for ages, and it's driving me nuts. Or, you know, the behaviour of people around me, or I live in a war zone, or whatever it is, you know, people around me are behaving in ways that are just incomprehensible to me. I don't want to be around it. I can't stand it anymore. If I scream, it seems to have no effect.
Yeah, but that's not an impulse of being tuned to everything and following your instructions.
But this is the thing, when I come back to people go, but what if I don't have instructions? What if I don't?
Yeah, but you do. Every moment of your life you have instructions. It's not something special. There's not some doorway that you have to open in order to get your instructions. They're always there.
Mm.
You know, like...
But I would just say the majority of people on the planet right at this point, if you said to them, you have instructions, they would go, you're a tripper, get out of my face. But I don't get instructions from anywhere. No, but I'm just saying
that I would go and...
I just feel like there's a lot of people, and even if they go, oh, I've got spirit guides, and I've got this, and I've got that, and I know what I'm doing in the universe, and I'm on a project, you know, I'm on a path of consciousness or whatever.
Yeah.
If you said to them, you know what to do in every moment, they would go, I don't have a fucking clue. I'm actually completely uncertain. If I go this way, I think the outcome will be this. You know, like say in that family situation, if I yell and scream and rant and rave at them again, they're just going to be alienated. If I sit and try and explain something to them, they're going to go into their own story and start telling me that back. If I try and love them, they push me away.
Well, that's about other people.
If I try and blah, blah, blah.
But I'm just saying,
for people...
It's not about other people.
Well, it is if you have to put up with them.
Well,
if you have to live with them and be loved by them in the way that they choose to love you, then you are up against that. Like if you want to be in a loving family and you keep going back to your family because you go, surely there's a way I can work this out so I can have more love in my life and I can give them the love I have for them. Like somewhere it feels like, yeah, sure, maybe it's still coming from battle mode or whatever if I want to make this work.
Yeah, but you want to change other people and you want to give something and get something. Yeah.
So what's the other game? That's the question. What is the other game? We're back. We're on track. People.
It's about you. It's not about them.
The universe is not a game of rewards and punishment. What the heck is it? So if it's not about, I don't know, if it's not about them, what is it about?
It's about your awareness of you. I mean, it's all of those things. It's what are your idiosyncrasies and how do they serve you? How can you bring them home? What are the things that you're actually getting in the world? They're all around you. They're not hidden. They're not in your subconscious. You don't have to go looking for them. They're right in front of you. All the stuff that you're getting is right in front of you. What are you getting? How can you see other people as being motivated by the desire to feel love? You know, all of that. Like, how can you focus on the experience? How can you get out of the categories? How can you see yourself in this moment beyond the labels that frustrate and keep you safe? I mean, it's not something that you can do in 10 minutes. It's not something that you can even explain in 10 minutes. It's everything that's not the game. So it's not about other people. It's about energy. It's about being tuned to the messages and doing what you're told. It's about seeing what's in front of you as something that's there to serve you. It's about being able to understand other people's behaviour in terms of what's happening for them, not what you expect or what makes sense for you. Where do you have to understand to see how it makes sense to them? Because that's the only way you're going to love and accept the people in your family, if you can see where it makes sense to them. If you're trying to convince everybody to come around and see the world from where you are, I mean, you can try. There are very charismatic human beings that can do that. but I'm not, that's one option. I'm not sure that's an option open to a lot of people. But the alternative is to figure out where they are. Because everything makes sense. It's reasonable to them. They're making that choice from a particular set of rules.
And I still just come back to, though, if people are, particularly in families, where people feel like there's someone who disrupts everything and has an effect that is debilitating on the family. Like, quite often it feels like people have an experience where they feel like, there's a behaviour or there's something that occurs that they are just sick of. It's like, I don't want that in my life anymore. I'm sick of that person coming in and being violent. I'm sick of that person coming in and talking shit. I'm sick of that person coming in and, trying to convince me of something that I'm not really interested in. I'm sick of having to put up with this behaviour. Like, I've come in from every angle. I've come in there and gone, what does this mean to me? How does this serve me? What am I meant to do with this? La, 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 la. I've used all the self-help books up on this person, on my experience with them, and I still have to put up with them at the dinner table snorting and farting. I'm not sure.
No, I'm not sure what the question is, because that still sounds like a problem that you want to solve.
Yeah, absolutely. If someone's coming in with all guns blazing and being violent or fighting or doing something that disrupts your atmosphere, what do you do with it?
Well, it would depend on the scenario. I don't think there's if you're talking about someone who's physically attacking you, then obviously you take steps to not be in that person's life. There's not.
I mean, I'm not talking about physically attacking. I'm just talking about, if someone's got dementia, if someone's got some kind of disorder as categorised by their family, or, like their behaviour.
Well, if they have dementia, then there's an explanation, isn't there, for their behaviour? There's nothing that you can. It's not like you're going to have a different experience. You either learn to be in that moment or you're not in their life. I mean, it's not.
And that's the bit where people get distressed, because they go, this is a person I love we're talking about. I want them in my life, but I cannot tolerate that behaviour anymore. I cannot live with the consequences of their behaviour.
Yeah, but there's
the
a
impact
difference
it has on my life.
There's a difference between someone who has dementia and someone who burps and farts at the dinner table. I'm not sure you can even put those situations in the same scenario.
Well, I mean, for hundreds of years people did. If you didn't follow the social etiquette of the times, you were dismissed from the family.
Except that burping and farting have been part of the dinner table for a very long time.
I mean, you can use whatever you want in their place. It's interchangeable for the era. Do you know what I mean?
No, so be aware of that. It's a cultural bias. Your sense of what you cannot abide is a cultural bias. So why can't you stand it? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's got nothing to do with the person doing something that's disruptive. It's only disruptive because you have a cultural bias.
But if you can't not let it upset you, if before work every day you are thrown into a fucking, you can't stay on a stable ground when you're around it.
You throw yourself into. If it's a cultural bias, then you throw yourself into it. Why are you throwing yourself into it? How does that serve you?
So I just go, in as much as it's a cultural bias, it's a bias based on your experience.
All culture is.
Somewhere you've walked the journey to here, to have the experience that you're having.
And all the
So
meanings that you
cultural
have.
bias or not, it feels like whatever the behaviour is.
It's not the behaviour. It's the meaning that you attach to it.
Mm.
It's your perception of what is acceptable and what is not. It's your perception of what is going on. It's your perception of how and why that person is doing that.
But all through history, people would have said, it's not my perception, it's what is. You know, if a woman's crazy like that, she gets put in a home. If this person in my family doesn't behave differently, I will have to put them in a home.
Yeah.
If this person doesn't, if this child does not fucking get with the norm and be able to fit in at school, we will have to get them sedated.
Yeah.
If this child does not, you know, like it's not.
And they've been playing the game
for
of
the
exchange.
people, though. For the people, it doesn't feel like they have any choice in it.
Just because they've been doing it for hundreds of years doesn't make it outside of the game of exchange. It's still the game of exchange.
So then what's the other game? How do you get outside of it? How do you play outside of that game?
I just told you.
Well, you might have to tell us again now, because some of us are thick. We live in a paradigm that feels all-encompassing and we can't get out of it. No matter how much we chip away at it, it feels like, shit, I'm back in there in my family, yelling at them again, in exchange again.
Yeah, because
cranky because they've done something I don't like. Fuck, I know all this shit.
Because it serves you. How does it serve you? You're in it because it serves you. No part of you is going to put you in a situation where you have a cultural perceptual bias that does not serve you. It's there for a reason. You need to find the reason. You need to find how it serves you.
And that's where people just go, because it's plain wrong. If they just didn't do that, everything would be fine. This culture would be fine. It's that one thing that they do that messes with everybody's minds. Would they just stop it now?
That's how it serves you. People being wrong.
I'm just saying that's what it triggers in people, is that response of, yes, but it's not me, it's them. Like, it's not serving me. I didn't ask for this in my life. I don't want this in my life. I've been trying to get this out of my life, and now here it is again in my face. Can you get it out of my face?
No, I can't. And if that's where you come from, then this isn't gonna work. It's not about convincing you. If you know, somewhere inside of you, if you know that it's about other people and you're not willing to be in the space and even consider that it's about where you need to stand in order to understand where other people are coming from, then this isn't going to work. You already know inside of you what's going to work. You need to go and be with that, because this isn't about convincing you to do something that you disagree with. This is about when you've done all those other things and you know that there's something else. You know it's not about exchange. You know it's not about making other people wrong. You know it's not about control. You know, I mean, if you want someone to argue with, I'm sure there's plenty of philosophers and psychoanalysts that will have that conversation with you.
And if at that point you need a distraction,
I don't.
Google has got a philosopher on the front page today.
Writer, author.
I don't know who it is, but
Leo Tolstoy.
I don't know who that picture was of. Somebody.
Tolstoy.
Oh, my favourite movie. Bless. Now there's a movie about cultural norms. The Last Station.
If you read some of his books, you will be transported.
If you watch the Last Station movie, you will be also transported.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Mm.
It's beautiful. It's very much about people having two different kind of paradigms of the world and trying to love each other through two very different cultural norms of the world.
Mm.
It's very much about that.
But that's what that person at the dinner table has.
Mm.
A different cultural norm.
Mm.
You don't have to go across the globe to find someone with a different cultural norm.
Mm.
So did we answer our question?
Hang on, let's just check our time check. We've still got a little bit more time to round up the edges for you for anything else that's just floating around out there. Negotiating the battle. Well, I think we demonstrated the battle pretty well, so that's good. Dropping the competition. Mel demonstrated that. That's very good. And if the universe is not a game of rewards and punishment, what the heck is it? Well, hopefully through our encounter you have been able to determine that for yourself and find your own answer, because I'll be going away to find my own answer in a minute.
Well, it's a big question. I mean, I'm not sure it's something, it's not a bumper sticker answer.
Oh, yes, it is. Get with the program. That's mine. Don't anyone else use that, because get with the program is mine. I think I am one of those charismatic people. You should be able to just convince people just go in my direction or else. Oh, you never say the or else out loud, though.
But you can say the rest of it out loud.
Yeah, get with the program, people.
You should be able to see the world from
Should
my
be able to see the world
perspective.
from
Go where
my
I want you to
perspective.
go.
Yes, if you were going where I wanted to go, everything would be just fine. I
Sorry.
have thousands of mini-me Louises running around looking the same as me.
I definitely don't want you to go where I want
They would
you
have
to
a
go.
Lego haircut. They would have Lego haircuts, marching around going, I love to backflip. Every now and then throwing on yellow and orange clothes and running around like a very fast person. That would all be very funny too. Did I mention that? That'd be hilarious! And tragically sad at other points.
I don't know. I just think there's
Big extremes of emotion.
There's a lot more to it.
And a lot of interruptions and tangents.
That's why we have the program. That's why we're writing the books. That's why we do the one-on-ones. That's why we have all that stuff, because it's a lot more than being able to have one conversation, because all of those questions come up for people, even if after that, do you want it or don't you want it? The people that say, yeah, I want it, tell me, what do I do now? Then there's a whole series of stuff.
You write Melanie a letter. That's what you do. I saw it on her website yesterday. You can write her a letter.
Which
she
one?
would love that. Oh, I think it was
Living
medicine.
in Two Worlds? Oh, no, How to Be Medicine.
I thought it was on How to Be Medicine, where you can also sign up for our Perfect Present program, but if you're more of the letter writing type, as we noticed last week, being World Letter Writing Day, I asked the kids at school to put up their hand if they'd ever had a letter.
What do they say? Not many?
Not many. I mean, most people could, not even everyone could put up their hand that they got a birthday card in the mail. Not even everyone could put up their hand that they got, I'll just say that again, Facebook, you have a lot to answer for, but not everyone could say that they had got a birthday card in the mail, and very few people could say that they'd actually received a handwritten letter.
Have they ever sent one?
No. A lot of people had not sent one either.
Maybe we should do something about that.
You know, I mean, they did. There was a fantastic. There was, yeah. I mean, there is some people doing stuff about that. I can't remember at not the last Writers' Festival, the one before that. There was a woman who gave us all aerograms, and they had a whole book about letters, and it was a movement to, well, you know, World Letter Writing Day may well have come out of it. But it was, you know, she had collected handwritten letters from people and had all other authors there who were letter writers and who had stories of other people's letters that had impacted them and were all encouraging the movement of letter writing. So, yeah, very beautifully.
And we've got something for Becca, which hasn't gone into the post yet.
We're working on it, though.
We're working on it. We have to fill out a form.
Tricky business.
And I don't have X-ray vision. So.
To the post. Yes, indeed it is.
Was there some program we wanted to talk about? Not Marianne.
Oh, yeah, there was. Okay, people, wait for it. There's someone fabulous out there that we want you to know about. and we are just getting to her. She's fabulous. She is so cool. You're going to love her. Hold that thought. I know you're all hanging out to go and have your next cup of coffee.
We'll put the link on which website?
Well, we will try and put the link wherever we put this. But in the meantime, I had her open, ready to go. But now she's completely disappeared from the universe.
Go up. No, up. That's down.
Yeah, but she's...
That orange one that you went past.
Orange one that I went past?
Yeah.
Where?
The orange one that you went past. The only orange one on the page. Oh, Miranda McPherson.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, finally with us, September 10th is the big day for Miranda McPherson.
Now, listen, the reason I want to tell you about this is because when I went to her website, it was as if I was looking at something I would have written. I mean, except for a couple of things. You'll know which couple of things I'm talking about. But there was something, I like that she's a non-dual, spiritual teacher.
Non-dual realization. She has an approach to non-dual realization.
Yeah, but she's called a spiritual teacher. Obviously, I wouldn't use the word teacher for me. But I love all the messages that are on there. I love the sense of surrender. I mean, I just think she's definitely worth checking out. But I'm just thinking we need to tell them where they're going to find this stuff.
Yes.
Where are we going to put it?
We will put a link to this on our Facebook page, Miracles and Wonder Down Under.
Is it called that anymore? Yeah.
I hope so. Otherwise you'll never find it.
Okay, so where's our web? Should we put it on miraclesandwonderdownunder.com?
On our Facebook page.
No, that's the Facebook page. On our website. Which website should we put the link on, Louise?
Well, whichever one you like, Mel, because you have to do it. I'm not doing that.
So, miraclesandwonderdownunder.com.
And you could also contact us in any way you like and ask us. Tell us why you are interested in the non-dual approach and why it is that what we say makes you go, oh, if they say it's good, I'd like to follow it up because I'm interested in what they're talking about around the non-dualistic, non-duality. The stuff that we've been talking to you about. What is it that's making you stick with this program and keep watching this program? We'd be really interested to know why you are enjoying the conversations we have. What is it about the way we have our conversations that is exciting for you? And we will flick you back the link if you can't find it anywhere else. But we would love to be hearing from you, whether it's on a pen and paper or whether it's through a comment on the Facebook page, which is Miracles and Wonder Down Under, or if you go to How to Be Medicine, you'll find where you can write to Mel, you'll find where you can sign up for Perfect Present, and you'll find a lot of other information about the stuff that Mel's writing, which is right into those areas.
Yes.
So we've got our first class with Year 6s today. Well, it's not our first class because we worked with them before, but lucky for them, they get us for the rest of the year.
I'm excited, you know.
So that is exciting. We wish we could take you to school with us because we know you'd enjoy it. School's not like it used to be, you know. They've changed their paradigm.
It changes when we're there.
Well, it's pretty changed as well. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty, and I think that's the pretty amazing thing. It doesn't matter whether you're at the dinner table with your family or you're in school or you're in your own brain. If you look for the bit you want to see, you'll see it. You know, if you look across the dinner table and you want to see the love, you will find the love. If you want to see the dysfunction, you will find the dysfunction. It will amplify whatever you're looking at. So to be fascinated with, as you say, how does this serve you? And
yeah, I mean, that's the trick. Like when you get into a spot that doesn't make sense, that's how you be in the spot that doesn't make sense. You say, how does this serve me? Because at all other spots, it's making sense and you're doing what you're told. And when you get into a spot that doesn't make sense, you say, how does this serve me? And it just kind of brings you back.
And I think for the next show, because there's something that brought up, which is, you know, it feels like they're doing it to test you or something. Sometimes, like whatever that is about the test thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it feels like your family members are deliberately setting out to poke your buttons.
And if
people are deliberately setting out to poke your buttons.
And if that wasn't true, if you could see where they were coming from, if you knew the reason why they were doing what they were doing.
So next week we will be talking about if the whole world is trying to push your buttons, how can you see what they're really doing?
Yeah.
And we will look forward to seeing you next week. And hopefully we'll get to see you somewhere in the universe before that. I'll be at the Southport Aquatic Centre opening on Saturday. Oh, I've been so lucky lately. Running around to Redfest, Spring Fair, and Bunnings and
you didn't tell
places.
any of your stories.
No, I know. I've been having so much fun. It's been so much fun. Lots of places. I've been to Ireland. I've been everywhere, man. It feels very exciting to be on such crazy adventures with so many people.
Maybe we can tell some stories next week.
I met some fabulous people at Bunnings Capella Bar. You know? You know?
The most unlikely place.
Well, you just go, you know, like even if you're going down the supermarket, there's a supermarket full of extraordinary people there. You don't know what their stories are and you don't know what's happening in their lives.
Yep.
And, you know, we're all looking for celebrities. We're all looking for people who've got these big stories and they're on the front covers of magazines. And, you know, we want things to be larger than life. But actually, when you get the magnifying glass out and the little things in life, you find there's amazing stories in there. So keep your senses peeled. Shut them down every now and then if you have to. Whatever you need to do to have a good week. Enjoy your week.
Lots of love.
Ciao for now. See ya.